Hello everybody and welcome to the Top Producer Show. My name is Brandy and this is Jeff, and the whole purpose of doing this show is to show you guys what it actually takes to become a top producer. Now, this is mainly geared towards network marketing. However, all the methods that we actually use in our traditional businesses as well, and have helped other people with traditional businesses. So all of the stuff that we're going to talk about on this show can be transferred there as well. So, because the saying is in network marketing, if you could figure it out there, you could take it everywhere else. And it is very true. So, we are going over Atomic Habits by James Clear. And we are on chapter 15, the fourth law, make it satisfying, and the cardinal rule of behavior change. So, pleasure teaches your brain that a behavior is worth remembering and repeating. So if an experience is not satisfying, we have little reason to repeat it, which is why a lot of people have a really hard time doing the stuff that they're supposed to be doing. And that's a problem with everybody. It is just the way that our brain is wired. Because if you look at any unpleasant experience when you're a kid, if it's unpleasant, you're less likely to repeat it because the brain thinks of safety and security. So it tries to keep you in that safe zone of not branching out and sometimes doing what you're supposed to do. So the cardinal rule of behavior change. So what is rewarded is repeated, and what is punished is avoided. So you learn what to do in the future based on what you were rewarded doing or what you were punished doing in the past. So positive emotions cultivate habits and negative emotions destroy them. So we've already gone over the first three laws of behavior change, which was make it obvious, make it attractive, and make it easy. And to increase the odds of behavior performed on this time around, the fourth behavior change is make it satisfying. So increases the odds of the behavior will be repeated for the next time. So what it does is it creates this behavior loop where you'll be more likely to do stuff. Hello, Betty. Hello.
What's up, Thomas?
All right. So mismatch between immediate and light rewards. So people value the present more than what they do the future. Like, this isn't it, like when they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing, they're like, this is a problem for my future self and I don't need to worry about it right now. However, it becomes way more painful later. All the things that you're supposed to do, good habits happen in the present, not the future. And people seem to have it backwards. They're always like later. But the problem is if you're trying to grow a business, you can't be pushing things off till later. So you got to find ways to make things satisfying for you to do to get it done in the present. So like what we end up doing whenever we have to get like everything that I don't like to do, I have to get it done first before I get to go do anything fun. And what that's done is it's programmed me to be able to actually sit down and do things, because I'm like, okay, this kind of sucks to do. However, if I get it done, I then get to go do all this other thing. So then I'm actually looking forward to actually getting that done as fast as possible, and then going and doing what I want to do. However, this might be just based on my personality, but as you start really doing well in your business, because texting leads when you're brand new, it's scary. And you're going to be anxious. You're not going to be very good on the phone at first. And people get a lot of anxiety from it. However, with the texting system, we found that has taken a lot of pressure off of people. But then at the end, there still has to be somebody getting on the phone at some point. But what I've noticed is once I have enough people in my funnel and enough people coming through, what it does is it gets very exciting, because I'm like, it's moving and I have a lot of people coming in. And then what ends up happening is because that habit was established in the beginning, it's much more enjoyable once the ball gets rolling. And what it does is it creates this snowball effect. And then it just becomes way more enjoyable to do as you get going. But the trick is you have to start it and you have to be disciplined enough to be able to get that connection. And you'll have to excuse us, like the weather's been back and forth here in Indy, and both of us have allergies, so. So, how to turn instant gratification to your advantage. Incentives start a habit, and identity sustains that habit. So we've talked about establishing your identity so the habits start, but until you create that identity for you have to create that identity for yourself. Like, this is what I do. I am a business person. I am a network marketer. This is what I do. Because that's what's going to keep you there, as well as having the goals and the things that you want to achieve. But that's basically what I got out of this chapter. And I'm going to turn it over to you for your takeaways.
Okay, so chapter 4, making it satisfying, it says different things were done to kind of prove that this is the way that it works, right? If you want to set up a habit, because when toothpaste first came out, people weren't using it. Why? Toothpaste originally was white, it was chalky. I only know this because I visited like old school pharmacies, and they used to make the toothpaste at the pharmacy and put together like calcium and something else because it was kind of coarse, and it didn't taste good. It wasn't until they added flavor to it, spearmint and peppermint. It wasn't until they added flavor to it till people were like, oh, this is kind of a good idea. Was it a good idea before? Yes, it was a good idea before, but it wasn't satisfying to do, so therefore people wouldn't do it. So the easiest thing is what is rewarded is repeated, and what is punished is avoided. So it's a really good thing to keep in mind, especially when you're teaching kids or adult kids. What is rewarded is repeated, and what is punished is avoided. Make it satisfying makes the habit more likely that you're going to repeat it. So that's the whole goal, is like, if you want any type of habit, reading, watching, personal development, if you want, make some kind of recognition for it, some kind of reward for it. If you like ice cream, if you read, you eat ice cream. It could be that simple, the cookie method or the chocolate method. It was really funny. In The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon uses this with Penny by giving her little pieces of chocolate, and he was doing this experiment on a reward system to get her to do exactly what he wanted to do. And as dumb as it sounds, it actually does work. The mismatch between
Please do not do that to people.
Unless
disclaimer.
Unless it's absolutely necessary, and sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is. Yeah.
The mismatch between immediate and delayed rewards. So delayed gratification is kind of a new concept to humans. The reason being is growing up outside in caves for thousands of years basically created an instant gratification response. Instant gratification means if we see something sweet, we have to eat it. If we see something fun to do, we have to do it. It satisfies, like, biologically the natural human instinct of right now. So the problem is because of our past, we spent the majority of the time being ready to avoid great threats or grave threats. So instant gratification was necessary for a level of survival. Like, if you saw sweets and didn't eat it right then, the chances of it being there the next time, because of the weather, because of other people, because of the elements, was probably pretty good it wasn't there. And you have no idea when your next meal is, right? This is pre-hunter-gatherer kind of domestication. Sex provides instant pleasure, but people will do it even though in some cases they know it's not safe or have no idea if it's safe or not. But because of the instant gratification, people are going to do it anyway, and that's a problem. Sometimes the immediate feels good, but the long term actually feels bad, right? Not just with sex, with kind of everything in life.
Well, another example would be somebody who smokes. A lot of smokers know that it could lead to lung cancer, but they'll still do it anyway.
Overeating. Mm-hmm. I've known people who are pre-diabetic, full diabetic to the point of losing limbs, and they're still like, chocolate, oh my God, I have to eat it. Okay. The cost of your good habits are in the present. The cost of your bad habits are in the future. Actually, both of them are in the future, right? Because if you keep doing the good, it's going to be good long term. If you keep doing the bad will be bad long term. The problem is the bad looks good up front or feels good up front. So the brain's tendency to prioritize the present moment mean you can't rely on good intentions. This is where your basic human instinct comes in. Your basic human instinct is there to keep you safe and keep you in survival mode. It's not there to help you get your goals and dreams. So especially when you're building a company, direct sales, network marketing, MLM, whatever you want to call it, any kind of business really, and you're having to look to the future of what to do, you kind of have to think things through farther out than right now. We all want better lives for our future selves. However, the moment of our decision arrives, instant gratification usually wins. This is why, if you're trying to eat good, don't buy the crap. Just don't even buy it. You can't have it around. Because when you're hungry, that instant gratification is like, well, it's just one cookie. Well, it's just a bag of chips. Well, it's just that I've added 30 pounds. Whatever it is, I mean, it just keeps going. As a general rule, the more immediate pleasure you get from an action, usually the stronger you should question whether you should do it or whether it aligns with your long-term goals, right? This is why, she mentioned cigarettes, alcohol, any kind of drug. It's so immediate that's part of the addiction, right? Also, it lights up the nervous system, etc., etc. Because of how we're wired, most people will spend all their day chasing quick hits of satisfaction. This is the whole idea of social media. This is the idea. The reason why they put the notification button on is a notification button, and this is scary, the notification button on your phone is as addictive and in some cases more addictive than heroin. That's the study. The studies have shown that it is more addictive in some cases than heroin. And by the way, if you don't know, heroin's pretty addictive. Haven't tried. I hope, never to come in contact at all. And I wish that people who have come in contact would never have found it because I've seen the after effects of it. We've lost people, like family and friends, to the addiction. So, but what does it do? It gives such an immediate response, relief, lights up the nervous system. But that's what your phones are doing, which is scary. That's what all the notifications. So that's why one of the things I found is if you feel tired throughout the day, one of the things that's happening is all those notifications, every time you're getting these little hits of dopamine. Boom, 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 boom. Dopamine, feel good, the response of like accomplishing something. Have you accomplished something by getting a ding on your phone? No, but that they built in that response. This is one of the reasons Bill Gates, this is one of the reasons Steve Jobs, this is one of the reasons Steve Wozniak, the guys who created the Apple phone, the guys who created the Microsoft technology would not let their own kids own it. Why? They had already done the study and knew how they built it to be addictive. It was designed that way. The last mile is always the least crowded. What that means is if you're trying to fix something, if you're trying to get back on track, if you're trying to do the right thing, the last mile is always the least crowded because so many people have given up and quit. And that's true if you're trying to build a business. That's true if you're trying to make $1 million. That's true if you're trying to lose weight. That's true if you're trying to, I don't care if it's bodybuild, become a martial artist, musician. Guys, at the very top, there's tons of rooms open at the conservatory, especially at the highest levels. Why? Because the majority of the people have already given up. So, people who are better at delayed gratification tend to have higher credit scores, tend to have lower substance abuse, tend to have lower obesity, tend to have, lower anxiety. They deal with stress better. They have superior social skills to the rest of us. And part of it is, when I really looked at this, delayed gratification has a lot to do with what? I think it has to do with self-confidence. I believe in myself. I don't have to give myself this right now. There's a higher level of thinking involved of, hey, I can wait. I can delay this. I can put this off. But you tend to find the lower the self-esteem, the more I have to have it right now. It goes back to you're more like a child, the lower your self-esteem is, right? Look at the reaction of somebody with low self-esteem when something goes wrong. They throw a temper tantrum just like a 2-year-old. The problem is they're 32 years old, right? We've all seen this. How to turn an instant gratification into your advantage. Well, if you know the instant gratification is kind of a good trigger, then you just have to set up your habits that way. The vital thing about getting habits to stick is basically to feel successful, even if it's in a small way. The ice cream thing, right? The feeling of success is signal to payoff that the work, it was worth the effort. In the beginning, you need to stay on track. So, use reinforcement of something positive to end the action. Immediate reinforcement can be especially helpful when dealing with habits of avoidance, like making phone calls or texting leads. So how can you set yourself up where that's an attractive thing to do? Make sure there's a reward at the end of it. Like, it doesn't matter. I get to go shopping at Goodwill. I mean, it could be something like I get to go grab something to eat, if food, because food typically, is one of those addictions, one of those pleasure addictions. You get to go do that. Now, if you're diabetic, don't go get a dessert, right? But go get something. Which behaviors you want to stop doing. So you also want to figure out what the behaviors are you want to stop doing, and you kind of make a punishment for those. What do you get if you do the right thing? So this is kind of what I asked. What do you get if you do the right thing? What does it cost you if you do the wrong thing? Like, what if it cost $1 an hour every time you were screwing around? Make it $5 an hour. I mean, it just depends on where your income is. Make it $5 an hour. All of a sudden it becomes very painful not to do stuff, right? And you've got we knew one person that was like trying to remove negative from their life. So anytime anybody in the family said something negative, it cost them $1. And so he came in, I guess something had went wrong, and they threw $20 in there. It was like, look, I gotta talk about something. Here's $20. Oh, okay, I'm done. What gives you pleasure? What gives you pain? Also, make it visual and make it easy to do. Like, if you love a certain kind of ice cream that's impossible to find, maybe that's not the best thing, because you're only going to do it when it's there, and it's not there very often, so you're setting yourself up for failure. So that's how you make it satisfying. A habit needs to be enjoyable for it to last. That's kind of the key. Change is easy when it becomes enjoyable. The reason people don't like change is usually there's not an immediate reward. When there is a reward that everybody likes, so that's the way to sell change to some people. Be like, look, if you were able to get your dreams, if you were able to get everything you wanted, if you were able to knock this out of the park, if you were able to buy the house you wanted, the cars you wanted, send your kids to the school you wanted, help your parents out, put a savings account away, et cetera, have tons of money in the bank, have tons of money in investments, feel totally secure when the economy flips upside down and, inflation's at 8-10% and it doesn't even matter to you, would you be willing to make some text messages to get all that? And people are like, oh, well, yeah, if you say it that way. Because what you did is you front loaded all the benefits, everything they're going to get, for, instead of trying to call and chase people, you're just text messaging people. And that's where people are like, yeah, that's a good idea. So if you need leads, if you need that kind of coaching, that's what we do at My Leadership Network, which is who sponsors this show, The Top Producer. Brandy and I wanted a way to kind of consistently go through personal development, so that's why we created a show to do this. We actually I created it years ago with Bess McCarty through the MLM Millionaire Academy. She had a school online, and I was like, look, we need to do something every day. And there were two kind of things that we were doing. Number one is, yes, we were getting out there, we were promoting, we were going through well, I guess there's three things. We were doing it, and it was visual for marketing. Second, we were able to go through personal development. And third, it kind of kept us on track because as a growth company, it makes sense that the leaders are growing. And I found so often so many leaders would read stuff years ago and regurgitate the information, but they weren't going through new stuff. They weren't going through current stuff. They weren't really growing like they say. Now, some are, but most aren't. So that was the point of it. So if you go over to joinmyleadershipnetwork.com and you actually fill that out, we will actually give you a coaching session worth over $300. The coaching session is specific to MLM direct sales network marketing, walking you through, the questions, where are you at. I put together basically a 12-point question, and I can figure out exactly where you're stuck, what you need to do to fix it, to move to the next step. And so far, every single person I've sat down with has been at one of those 12 stages. And once we find it and fix it, all of a sudden we get results. So with that, turn it over to Brady.
Alrighty, so we are here Monday through Friday at noon, and each one of these videos is going to be uploaded to YouTube. So that way, if you guys want to go back, you want to rewatch a couple of episodes, you are more than welcome to. We're also going to be going, so like Jeff said, we started this to be able to go through personal development. So each month we're going to have a different book. And also, as we go to conferences, we're also going to be giving you guys takeaways from that as well, and like how can it actually be applied to your network marketing business. So with that, that is what we have for you guys today. It is Friday, so we will see you guys on Monday, and everybody have a good weekend because it looks like it's going to be nice. So if you're in Indy, we're finally going to have some nice weather. Everywhere else, hopefully you have some nice weather too. So everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next time.